Hey, I'm Justin.
This is Chaz.
Join us as we look back together, but learn to stay present.
Come with us as we rise up with hope on the horizon.
This is the podcast of extraordinary millennial gentlemen.
Awesome. So good to be back and joined with friends, a friend. Justin's here, Chaz is here, and
Hello.
Charlie's with us. Charlie, say
Hey.
hello.
Hello, guys.
Ooh.
What's up?
Oof, just like those low tones we practiced. Hello. For all the ladies. He's married, but it's Charlie. We're happy to have him here. So this is kind of fun because we're kicking off a season of interviews, and I will recap a little bit of Charlie and I's friendship. I've known Charlie as long as I've known my wife. So that was kind of the mutual connection there. And so we're going on like 10 years ish.
Wow. Getting a big ring.
I think the first time I saw you, Justin, was at your reception.
Hey, that would.
Or
you
the
saw me in
wedding.
my
I
best-
was in the room.
Okay.
So
Okay, Charlie.
Oh.
Here we go. Full circle. Chaz was my best man.
Yeah. I was in that room. Yeah.
You probably didn't recognize him without the beard and without his dancing shoes on, dare I say.
Of course.
Okay. So our paths have crossed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need my
I think
tux
you
back.
guys exchanged sweat on the dance floor.
Oh,
Did you have to come out in the little parade of dancing through the reception? No.
I don't recall. I just remember, and Justin, you may not remember this family, but the Bolins. Has Brittany ever talked about the Bolins?
Yep. Absolutely.
Polynesian family, well, hybrid, I guess. I don't know what you call them. Inner Polynesian family, and
Whoa, we're gonna have to edit this for content already.
We've just been
Charlie.
blocked.
No.
We've just been blocked by YouTube.
You're gonna lose a follower. Don't do this.
Oh, hey, everybody, by the way, Charlie is our first official follower. Click subscribe, hit us up. But Charlie, you're like the alpha.
I got a heads up.
One.
You know, I'm an early bird gets the worm kind of guy.
That's right. Okay, sorry. So you were talking about the racial profiling of a certain family. No.
There's the Bolins. I love them.
Yeah.
Sister Bolin is Polynesian, and we had just had our first child, and we were at your wedding.
Right.
And she held our child and then ran away with him because she wanted
Excellent.
Mm.
That's my memory of your wedding.
But you know, that's true. So you were kind of in a different world in more ways than one because you were a new father, very new.
Yeah.
Good times. I like that. No, that's great. So, you know, Charlie and I, you're still in Denver.
Still in Denver.
Well,
I've got new news. You might have already heard this.
Ooh, this is podcast worthy. I don't know if I heard it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know. So like right now, my home studio is a random room in my mother-in-law's house, which is
Right,
cakes in the
copy.
corner and random lamps and stuff.
Those real cakes.
I've seen them for several years, so I don't know if you can consider them real anymore. My sister-in-law is like a professional cake baker.
That's right.
She's
I remember
awesome.
that now.
She does awesome
I
work.
remember that.
Anyways, she is opening a shop up in a town here called Castle Rock, and we bought a house.
Wow.
Hey.
Equidistance between that shop and my mother-in-law's house. So,
Man,
that's the
where
news.
does that
It's the
put
new
you?
house.
Are you living in Castle Pines?
oh, close, but no.
Or are you? Okay.
Yeah. No, we're in South Parker,
Nice.
right off Parker Road. So the house
That's
is
great.
just now crawling out of the ground.
New build?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's fun.
That's
very
exciting.
cool.
Yeah.
We're talking to a homeowner, people. He's a pro.
So this is temporary.
No, I like it. No, come on. Decorate cakes in your spare time. You are a man of many talents.
have to
We know
My
this.
sleep.
It's fine.
Yeah. I wonder though if I took a bite out of something and she'd notice it. But those are like for the cake shop window.
But why wouldn't you buy one if it didn't have a slice out of it? I wouldn't buy it.
No, I'm not talking slice. I'm like,
Oh, a
take
bite.
a
Okay,
whole-
yeah.
a bite out of it.
Yeah,
And
that
the
wouldn't
monster got to
that
it.
probably wouldn't look very appealing. Good call. Not
But
going to
it
sell
might
a lot
be a
of
sign
cakes.
that the cake was popular. You know, like
That's why I'm saying go with the slice. You know, it's like I just do what everybody else does. If somebody else hasn't had a slice, I don't want the cake. So anyway.
oh yeah.
Well, we're going to get into some questions. Everybody, again, we're kicking this series off. And so, Charlie, I want to know, Chaz and I want to know, we talked a little bit about you, but just tell us about where you grew up and what that was like.
I grew up in a little farm town in the Pacific Northwest, just outside Seattle, maybe 45 minutes. Little valley, like one town at the end of the valley was called Carnation. Another town at the top of the valley was called Duval. And we all went to the same schools. There were 3 elementary schools, one at the north, one at the top, one at the bottom, one in the middle, and then a high school and a middle school. And I think it's still that way. The last time I was up there just a few weeks ago. I really, probably most of my life really was spent there. I wasn't born there, but that's really what I remember. And then I moved to Denver. It's been
Too long.
It's been 18 years, so I might have spent more time
Okay.
in Colorado than I've spent in Washington.
Ooh, and counting, because you're still there. Just
And
bought a house,
counting.
Parker. Wow.
Yeah.
So
So-
I have actually been to the place where he grew up. This is going to be very unusual for everybody out there. But fairly recently, Charlie, when you were there, actually
Right.
saw that area. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how close it is to Seattle, but it's a world away. Is that a
Yeah,
fair statement?
Yeah, it's fair. My mom worked in Seattle, and you just escape to the country when you want to get out of the city. And that's how my dad wanted to be. He didn't want to live in the city, wanted to raise a family out in the country. And so that's where we were. It was now reflecting, it was a wonderful life. As a kid, you hated living in a small town because
Oh, yeah.
my best friend lived 3 miles from me. It wasn't like I could go out my front door and go hang out in the street. No, it was a gravel
Oh, nice.
road.
Yeah.
And so in high school, I would jog before I had a car. I would jog to my friend's house, and then we'd just beg for somebody to come pick me up or something, drop me off again. whatever
Some
it would
locals
be.
see you on the way. There goes that Schreiber boy. Yeah, I think Chaz can relate, right? So, Chaz, you grew up in a suburb of Pocatello.
Yeah, it's a smaller town. It's a bit not as far apart as far as like distances between houses, but yeah, a bit smaller of a town. I mean, when I went to visit some of my aunt and uncles, one of them, they were farmers and they had their own farm, and that was kind of what it was, kind of out at Ammon, I think is, maybe I'm thinking of a different place. Anyway, it's been a while since I've been back there too. So yeah, very small. But yeah, man, just rode my bike everywhere between, friends' houses, just going back and forth. I never had someone that lived that close. I mean, there's one friend, but he was maybe about a mile away ish. Stick with the ish. So
Nice.
yeah, small towns. They're good, great place.
Yeah.
So here's a follow-up question then, unrelated to that, but not so much, right? Because it's rooted in where you grow up, I think how you grew up. So what are the values that you're committed to as an adult now that you're a man?
Okay, so you gave me a little heads up on this, and I'll tell you, I thought nothing about it.
Perfect.
Because I didn't want my mind to like solidify on some random thought that I went off of. I just wanted to be more organic.
You're already going off the script. Hold on. We're going to have to cut this. No, there's no script on this, everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, so values. Gosh, a lot of my life is all about relationships. And so not that I'm great at it, because I'm sure there will people come out of the cracks and crevices of life and say that I'm a horrible person.
There are people listening to this who are like, that Charlie guy's a real a-hole.
Probably.
Value relationships.
But
First
that's
comments,
probably one of
trolls.
the values is investing time with people.
Yeah.
I love to laugh. I mean, you know this, Justin. I laugh
do
about
know this.
stupidest stuff ever.
Yes.
And sometimes I make fun of other people because I want to get the laugh, and it's not to be hurtful, but I'll like be driving on the road afterwards going, God, I should have shut my mouth there or something. Well, but it is who I am. And so relationships, that's one thing I value.
Yeah.
Family is a big thing that I value. My mother passed away when I was serving a mission for my church. And so that from that moment on, family's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Even those friend families that you have close relationships, but they're not biological relationships. Those are a big deal because you never know when those things will change. And so I invest a lot of my time and my thoughts and prayers with other people because it's a big part of who I am. I believe in paying for things and not stealing them. That's a value.
Hey, that's a rare value you have, you say.
Let me ask this follow-up then. Because you I don't know if what you alluded to there would answer this or not, but with some of the failures that you've had, what would you say is a failure that you've learned the most from?
I don't pause to say I don't have failures, but who likes to think about their failures?
Have a hard time recalling how terrible I am from time to time.
Right.
Who doesn't?
That's my
failures. I think a lot about high school years.
Yeah.
I think about it, given you're young, so you make stupid mistakes and stuff. But back then, I didn't focus a lot on what I probably should have focused on. Now that I'm a father and I have commitments to financial things, it's definitely like, oh, I should try harder. I should be nice to those people because they might be the people you're asking for a job from.
Yeah.
Or, it somewhat applies, but it's more of a framework for my future life as I live. Back to relationships, being nice to people.
Yeah.
Trying hard and not trying to pass on things because you don't think it's a valuable moment.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a lot of work. And I know you're a hardworking person. I know this for a fact. So with relationships, especially for me, they can, from time, not my own kids, from time to time, they can be very taxing, right? So what do you do to recharge, refresh, reset? What are some either activities, hobbies, interests? I mean, any of those things that may come to your mind that help you reset and recharge.
Well, so when we met a few weeks ago, Justin, at my dad's house, that was something I need to do for recharging it to go on vacation. It disconnects me from work, which takes up a ton of my mental capacity. It's not that I have a completely hard job, but it's mentally taxing because I work with lots and lots of clients, and remembering the innuendos of each person and what they like and how they like to be talked to. And so you kind of, you emanate what they want to see, and then you move on to the next person, and it's a whole different persona that you put on. For the most part, it's still you or still me, but there's A-type personalities and they want answers. Just give me that number. And there's other people that want to know the details, and you got to be able to switch, interplay with that. So having a break, being able to just go home, go somewhere totally different is a big deal for me, because I get to spend time with my family to do that. And I get to watch my kids and see how they interact. I think this applies to anybody with a 9-to-5 type job, is you probably spend most of your time at work with your coworkers. And then the remainder is probably somewhat with your family, but then it's with your other commitments if you have hobbies or other jobs outside of work. Yeah. And in my life, I have that. I work outside of the home, but I work by myself almost all day long. And so to come home and to be able to take my family that means the most to me, and they're who I spend the most amount of my interaction time with. Yeah. I got to take them out and just do something else. We go to the park, which tends not to seem like we do it very often. I think about it. Um,
Dad
But-
guilt. I
Yeah.
know that sound.
it's
the sound
coming.
of the dad
It's
guilt
coming.
rushing
It's getting
into you.
worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah. Are there any tips you have kind of coming into fatherhood and doing that balance, like kind of lessons learned there? Anything in that realm? I'll just leave it open ended.
I don't think I spend enough time like one-on-one or just engaged, because I am connected to a phone. So I get text message or emails or something that come in and I just need to drop
Sure.
that. That just
Yeah.
needs to be gone. I do notice in my family, in my extended family with my in-laws and stuff, I have some brother-in-laws that are really good at, they haven't lost their personal interest in some hobbies.
Mm.
So they still tackle Frisbee. They love to play ultimate Frisbee.
Okay.
And they do that now as a family. I dropped all my hobbies. Like I can't recall anything.
Yeah. Do you think
Who
the
was
only
I?
reason
I
it's
don't know. I think I was fun. I don't remember. No, I can
You're
totally
right.
relate. I make light, but I can 100% relate with what you're saying.
yeah.
So that would be my tip, Chaz, would be, obviously you're going to progress with the timeline of life,
Yeah.
but don't forget like who you were or who you are, or developing those interests.
Mhm.
I can see myself going through a midlife crisis sometime, doing
Dude,
something.
call me when you do. I want to go.
Yeah.
Already. Do you think them incorporating it with their family was a way that they could keep those hobbies? Because it sounds like they've included instead of kind of going off on their own and kind of the solo side of things. It sounds like maybe some of those examples. I don't know if their family initially did, and maybe you don't know either, but just curious.
Well, just from observation, and
Yeah.
I've never talked to them about this, but I just watch it. They're really
Yeah.
close as a family, which is stuff like I think I'm close as a family, but I see that what they do, I think I could do that and be even closer with mine. They just have incorporated it in their life. And so the kids
Yeah.
know, oh, on Saturday morning, Dad's going to go do this. And we get to go with them, or we can choose to stay home. Or
Right.
That's
it's
great.
just part of their life. They realize their dad has other interests and stuff, even though he cares about them and stuff. My kids wouldn't be able to tell you what I like to do in my spare time. They have no idea.
Yeah, we just touched on this, I think, on
He likes
previous
being
episodes.
dad.
He likes to
He
yell at
goes
us.
to work so we can buy things. That's what I hear.
That's
from
right.
my side. It's like,
Oh,
that's why you work, Dad, right? So we can buy stuff. It's great.
Oh, gosh.
My kids still don't understand money. They're like, oh, we'll just go buy that. Well, yeah, I'll just work longer. You guys.
yeah. I went through an exercise recently where my kids are taking advertisements and they're circling things, which I can remember doing as a kid. Right.
Mhm.
And it's kind of that fun and exciting thing, whether it's a birthday, a holiday, or somebody else's birthday. We've had a couple birthday gatherings. We've been getting gifts for, friends of our kids. And so they're taking these like Target ads and Walmart ads, and they're just like circle, 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 double circle, and it's been funny. Yeah. Triple stars. You know what that means. So it's just funny that that's definitely a common thing. My kids are a little bit younger than yours, Charlie, but they do that and they enjoy it. And I'm not going to say it like raises all these flags like commercialism, materialism necessarily, because they don't even understand money, right? Like you said. But it's just a funny thing to say, Dad, I'm like eating dinner. Dad, I have to show you something. I'm going, okay, artwork, new talent, new skill, something they learned at school, at home. No, it's a Target ad, and there's a baby that poops her pants. And I'm like, you have a little brother who poops his pants. He's free.
So the Target ad is a huge thing in our house. We've moved beyond circles. There's now stickers. So if it's like the orange smiley face sticker, that's one kid. And if it's the red one, it's a different kid. And heaven forbid, 2 stickers are on the same thing, because it's mine, not yours.
Within
that's an
the
experience in our
advertisement.
house.
Yeah.
Within the advertisement. It's just a piece of paper, guys. It's just a picture. But I don't know.
That's great.
They're starting to get to the years where I think they realize they'll circle 100 things and maybe one of those things shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in our house, we do what we want to do. And so like you can circle everything you want in there. Go for that iPhone. Do it. Put 4 stickers on that thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen.
Oh, that's fun. So I'll shift gears a little bit here. With a lot of some of those tough situations you've described, this other areas of life, there's a lot of like negativity, especially with things going on these days, the whole stay at home. So how do you find positive? How do you find the positive in all that? What works for you?
Well, right now with everything going on in the world and stuff, I'm a consumer of news. Like I'm always looking at the news.
Yeah.
And you hear people say like, oh, I just put my phone away or I just stopped looking at it. And I'm like, well, I want to stay up to date. I guess it's still, I don't know if it's an addiction, maybe it is, but how to clear that out of my head is, the sun still rises. I woke up this morning, I was still going to work.
Yep.
It's just a personal outlook. I have clients that are just so upbeat. I love spending time with them. And then I have other clients that I just want to get the information and run. And so it's just a matter of compartmentalizing certain things and just saying, I will handle this and it's done. And I'm not going to put any more time or energy into that. And then I'm just going to handle this. And of course, if it's something I like, I'm going to milk it for all it's worth. And then as soon as that runs out, you move on to the next compartment of things. I do notice ebbs and flows of attitude. There's days that I'll be really happy and I think I glow, excitement. And there's other days where I'm just, don't talk to dad, don't talk to my husband kind of thing. But so when I catch myself in those, I got to just go, okay, what is the cause? And then I need to put that behind me, that's over with.
Kind of identify it and then redirect, something like that.
Yeah. It's only worth putting so much energy towards. And if you keep putting that energy in there, it sucks you dry. It's not fun for you. So you got to be able to turn it off.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. And then kind of a follow-up to that with that positive side of things, how would you define hope?
So personally, I would define hope as wanting good, wanting better for yourself. Yeah. Not that you believe it's going to happen, but maybe from past experience, that it's worth investing time in. I hope for a good retirement. That's something that weighs on my mind right now is taking care of my family and my saving. Yeah. But based on past experience, it only helps to work towards that. It doesn't help to put the blocks on and stop. So hope for me would using your experiences, exercising that faith.
Great. Yeah. And I'm curious, sorry, Justin, I'm asking all the questions here.
Oh, I know. It's all good.
I'm just like, ooh, I like this. I don't know. Are you a big reader, consumer of books, whether paper or audio, or do you have preference?
Yeah. So I would tell you
in that space.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I really need to get into books. I've been listening to you guys' podcasts and you guys talk about books and I'm like,
we're as good as books, Charlie.
You don't need to read anything. Just let us read.
That's the social side of me is no books. No books. Yeah. They're not real. I did just get done reading. Well, I guess I'm still in the middle of it because it's a lot to wrap your head around. But How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a book. Have you ever
Carnegie, yeah.
dived into that book?
Yes.
So I
make you feel like a terrible person, by the way, everybody. You must read it, but you're going to feel like a real jerk.
I don't.
Oh, that's good. Okay. That's my narcissism. Sorry, everybody.
No. Anyway, so that's the most recent thing that I've read or trying to wrap my head around. I tried doing it when I was in high school because I thought it would be some good thing to set me apart. Yeah. And I didn't understand the layout of the book or why it was the way it was until I had some framework behind it. And now the book is totally understandable. And I don't think it's meant to be read from A to Z. It's, pick this principle and understand it and then work through it and pick another one.
Yeah. No, I think I went through it in high school too. And it seemed way over my head. Like you get the basics. You're like, oh yeah, be nice to other people and talk to other people, be a friend if you want a friend, that type of stuff. But
Right.
other than that, kind of very surface level, I don't think I got much else out of that. So I think it'd be a good one to revisit.
Yeah. Other than that, it's
Yeah.
like news articles. That's my reading, but I should drop it and find out something better. And podcasts, because I drive a lot. I spend a lot of time in my car, so I listen to podcasts all the time.
Yeah. So besides maybe How to Win Friends and Influence People, is there any others that you've come across any time in life that like really stood out to you, made an impact on you, or a talk or anything that you kind of read in that space that you'd recommend to
Absolutely.
the audience or anything?
So I had kind of mentioned earlier that my mother had passed away.
Yeah.
And for a while afterwards, I was angry. I think if you passed me, I would have like waved and smiled and said hi or something. But if you knew me, you would see like that I was fostering this hate or something, this anger. And an aunt of mine gave me a book called The Hiding Place. It's pretty famous. It's not new. It's about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
About this. It's a true story about these sisters. They were spinsters, and their father owned a clock shop, and they hid Jews. And it's their experience of getting caught and being put in a concentration camp. And that totally changed my attitude about woe is me, because I think we learn a lot about that, but we never know all the ins and outs of the Holocaust and what people went through. And I learned that my problems, as big as they are not that big.
Mm-hmm.
And so that book has always been, I've always owned a copy of it. I went out and bought one. I will give it to anybody, because your life sucks. It doesn't suck as bad as this.
Yeah.
Did you know? Read this. And that's, I think that's so true, Charlie, that hearing stories like that of extreme survival, right? And, earlier talking about hope and a situation where there's zero hope, and reading about that and how real it is definitely wakes you up to maybe some of the benefits that you have. You see more of the silver lining to your life, to your circumstances, even though they can be pretty dire. So I think that's an amazing recommendation, actually.
Yeah.
So I hope to hear about this book on a review in a future episode.
Ooh, we could add it to the list.
Throw down a challenge.
It's going to the list right now. I mean, we'd be foolish not to take
yeah.
those who we interview and take their recommendations. So
Yeah.
everybody listen up for future book review of The Hiding Place. Definitely. It's an excellent recommendation.
So Charlie, is there, I don't know if you're on social media, do you put your voice out there, anything for the audience to find you that you want to share, or you like some of us that are not on any of those platforms? I'm not. I mean, we're on YouTube, but that's it. Soon to be Instagram, but.
So I am on the gram and the book, the Facebook. I don't post a ton. Like I'll have spurts where I'll just send out a bunch of pictures. Like, so our vacation up to Washington.
Yeah.
A million
Mostly
pictures.
Share with family stuff.
Yeah. But the 3 years before that, nothing. Like very few things.
Nice.
And so it's like Tourette's, and then it comes out and it's done. I did have an experience where I had a family member chastise me for deleting a comment that I just didn't want on a feed and stuff. And so then I just, fine, it's not a big deal. If you see me, if you're around me, then you get me. And if you're not, then you don't.
Yep.
And for me, and not to be negative about that and antisocial, it's social media doesn't mean anything to me. It's the interaction with the real person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the idea is that you're posting all the best of your life and never the worst. And I think that, especially Justin and I, just because we know each other, we know lives aren't perfect and stuff. And when we get together and see each other, we're always laughing and goofing off, but we're all
because of how
people.
imperfect things are. It's hilarious. We love it.
So,
and we never post about it.
No. And it's great to me because it's a memory. It makes it in my head versus I have to go back and look that up.
I think
that's a great point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, interrupting. No. I think I'm like a social media golem, and I just hide in the cave for years. But my precious is life, right? It's not digital media. It's not social media. It's not what you explained really, Charlie, I can relate to. But yeah, I just kind of imagine myself just in my cave, hanging on to my precious. But so I am, in terms of social media, I'm like an anti-social social media. But in reality, I feel like I'm pretty social.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, from both of you, what it sounds like, and I've felt this way too. It doesn't help build those relationships, right? Like that you brought up and that you've been focusing on. Even though it is a way to communicate and stay in contact, it seems like it doesn't get very deep, versus the face-to-face or even, phone calls or whatever it might be.
So I just had a thought of another parallel example of this.
Yeah.
In our family, we draw names for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a digital draw names thing. You put everybody's name in there and then it spits out who you picked. And every year they're always asking me, like, why don't you give us some ideas for what you want for Christmas? And I refuse to put ideas down because I don't care if it's a letter, a card, a drawing, or AirPods, whatever. I don't care. To me, it's the association of whatever that person felt towards me. Right. So it's like, this is so cool. You made this.
That's great.
Like that means everything to me versus like, thanks for the shoes.
Right.
This is what I asked for and you fulfilled. What a social transaction. Way to go.
Right. Yeah.
You're a man of great social depth.
In-person interaction.
Yeah.
I like it. That's fantastic. On that very high note, I think we're encouraging everybody to stay off social media. Do not promote this podcast. Do not let anybody know that we're out there. No, quite the opposite. No, I think it's been fascinating. It's been great. This is definitely not the last time that I think we'll talk. But what a great introduction. Chaz, any last thoughts? Take it away.
Last thoughts. No, I just, it's great to meet you, Charlie. It sounds like there's
Likewise.
Definitely more behind your story, your life, your, the things you do to interact with other people and lift them up and everything we've talked about. So I'll turn it to you. If there's any last things on your mind, anything you want to say to the 4 followers out there, including yourself, to
4 million. Go ahead.
I'm excited for you guys. Like I was talking to Justin several weeks ago about this, and I was like, "Oh, you got to give me the name of this. Right then I was going to put it on my podcast list, and it wasn't until he messaged me and he was like, "Here's where it's at." Right. I'm excited. I think it's cool to be here and to talk to you guys and to listen to the podcast and just hear what you guys have to say. And I think it's more out of fun for you versus pushing some sort of agenda. It may at some point.
Season 3, everybody, we're working up to it. the revolution.
But just to be there, hey, we want to talk, and that's fine. I think that's sweet.
Awesome. Great. Thanks. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, you bet, guys.
Thank you,
nice
Charlie.
To meet you, guys.
Thank you for taking the time, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. Be sure to subscribe to continue to get more content of extraordinary quality. See you next time.